All right, guys, got another episode of a peek behind the curtain of the burnout to all out staff. I'm having so much fun interviewing my team. They are such an integral role in my business. And I'm always talking about how, I'm just the tip of the iceberg. I'm the face of the company, but I'm really enjoying you guys getting to see all the brilliant minds that actually help me run and operate these businesses. And so today you're going to be hearing from Lisa Elliottson, who came in a couple of months ago and started with a couple of little odd projects here and there. And she's really just grown into an incredible role in managing our social media and providing VA agency work for our LinkedIn clients who want people to manage their inboxes the way we coach people to do it themselves. And so we decided, why not create an agency with the experts who are working behind the scenes in my inbox? So I think you guys will really enjoy hearing how her role has evolved in our Burnout to All Out community and business.
Hey gang, Melissa Hinault here with the Burnout to All Out podcast. I'm a mom of three, corporate burnout that built a secondary 6-figure income around my 9-to-5 with little kids. This set me free and allowed me to fire my boss and pursue my wildest dreams. It took grit, persistence, and belief. But now, operating multiple 6-figure businesses as an online entrepreneur and business coach, I have become a serial entrepreneur with a passion to inspire more burnouts to take the leap and go all out and live out their dreams. Each week, I'll bring you inspiring all-out guests, lifestyle business tips, and tools to empower you to take the leap from burnout employee to all-out entrepreneur, making your passion your paycheck. If this mom of three, corporate burnout, can go all out, so can you.
Good morning, everybody. I've got an incredible guest, Lisa Elliottson, on today. Well, Lisa, welcome to the show.
Good morning. So good to be with you this morning.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a fun interview. So for those of you guys who don't know, and by the way, this is a podcast we're streaming live into my academy and into the Burnout to All Out community. So if you're hearing this recording later, know that you can actually join live. If you come into our Burnout to All Out Facebook community, you can catch these interviews live. Today, I am starting a series where I'm actually interviewing the people on my Burnout to All Out team. And Lisa is one of our newest members of the team, and we're so excited to have you on the team.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and it's just been so much fun. Lisa, one of the things I get questioned all the time, I'm sitting at dinner or in social media or wherever, or people say, I don't know how you do it all. Like, how do you do all this? And how do you have multiple businesses? And I'm constantly saying, I don't, right? Like, it takes a team to create the infrastructure and the businesses that we operate, right? And you guys, Lisa, although she's one of the newest members of the team, she has a very, very critical role on our team. So I'm really excited to highlight for you guys and feature Lisa today, kind of share with you, kind of do interview style, what she's doing to support the Burnout to All Out brand and how your position has evolved, right? So one of the things for those of you who are online entrepreneurs that are listening in, I want you to hear Lisa's story, because as you bring people onto your team, I know I'm constantly looking for the right DNA, the people who are hungry, people who are open to learn, especially in entrepreneurship, right? Lisa, I don't know that you really knew what you were jumping into when you got in. It's like this evolving. When you're in entrepreneurship in a business that's changing, the one thing that you can count on is change, right?
100%.
So I always say, when you're looking to bring someone new onto the team, in the world of entrepreneurship, are they open to change and pivots and everything not being the same day to day? And if not, you have to be very, very clear around role and expectation, because I know in my past, I've had people who worked for me where the business pivoted or it quadrupled in a month and they weren't really up for the challenge. So with that, you guys, what I'd love to do with Lisa is I'm going to kind of walk you guys through some of the incredible work she's doing and have her share with you from her perspective, on the back end operationally what she's doing to help support my brand and support the business and be a team player in many critical roles. So Lisa manages all of my social media, right, Lisa?
I'm trying.
For those of you guys who don't know, I've got multiple businesses. I've got a coaching business. I've got private clients. I've got a larger group coaching in the LinkedIn Academy. And then I've got a line business that are completely separate. And those of you who are in my shoes know that actually a lot of companies will let you commingle that content, right? And so we're having to be really strategic in content posting. And that's one thing, right, Lisa? But then the other thing is just the complexities. I get this from clients all the time of how do you manage all these different social media platforms and get the posts out? And I say, I don't do it myself. I have someone who's in charge of that. So Lisa, from your perspective, can you share with everybody kind of the process that you and I work together on content? Because I think that to this day, some of my followers think that I just ad hoc post them on a whim. And I'm constantly telling them that your content is your money producer. And if you're not making it a priority and you're not blocking it out in your calendar, then you're not making your business a priority. Because if you're not visible online, you're not growing your brand. If you're not growing your brand, you're not growing your business. So all of that to say, I've told everybody over and over again, there's days that I don't feel like it. There's days I don't write content. But I have somebody like Lisa who holds me accountable and makes sure it happens. So Lisa, why don't you share everybody? And I'm open book. There's nothing you can't not tell everybody. Whatever you want to share with our process, how we're working, even all the way down to the legalities of trying to make sure we're doing things right, doing the right thing. So Lisa, share with the group how you and I work. How does Melissa Hinault get her content out to the world? What does our process look like from your end?
I haven't been with you for very long, but it's even changed since when I started. And the foundation is I send you an email with prompts to say you had already decided these are the things and the topics and kind of the avenues you wanted to share about on specific days. So we've kind of even tweaked that over the last couple of months to update it. And we're going to be doing it again to shift a little bit as well. But I simply send you an email with the dates and the topics, send it out to you, and you send it back to me. Now, we don't do it daily. I can do things last minute, but it's better if we have time to sit and let it kind of boil to the surface a bit as well. So we're about 2 weeks in advance. Sometimes in the month we get a little bit further ahead and, life happens. So there have been times when we've been a little bit behind.
Yeah.
But when you have that ebb and flow and you're able to be in advance, it allows you to be more thoughtful.
I love that. If you don't mind, I'd like to jump in for a quick second. A couple of things I think are really important for our listeners. Number one, what Lisa said is that we have prompts, right? So a lot of my listeners aren't necessarily in my academy where we coach your content pillars, right? Your categories. So what I want to underscore for our listeners who listen to the podcast or in the Burnout to All Out community is that I have decided what my 5 to 6 categories that I want to feature each week, right? And she's simply then holding me accountable by saying, here's your categories that you wanted to speak on. Here's the sequence for the next 2 weeks. So for example, because I know people listening are saying like what, right? So it depends on what you're running, what your brand is. Like that's a whole rabbit hole we can coach you inside the academy or even in the Burnout All Out, like one of our Insights Peak launches. But what I will tell you for me is that my pillars are weekly or adding value based off of my avatar's pain point or just wanting to speak to them, right? So once a week, I'm trying to create content, knowing who I'm trying to attract into my organization, who I am giving value to. That's once a week. And then twice a week, we drop a podcast, maybe once a week. This summer, maybe we're kind of doing it once a week. So once a week, I'm writing copy around a podcast that Lisa knows is coming out. And she's saying, hey, this podcast is coming out because she's communicating with her podcast manager. She's reminding me what's coming out so I can write a little blurb about that. It may be, hey, we're launching in the academy this coming week. This day is going to be academy launch content. But the bottom line is I have preempted her and said, okay, Weekly, I want to talk about my avatar. Weekly, I want to be promoting my social selling, my network marketing business. Weekly, I want to be giving value through quotes and promoting my podcast. So like Lisa knows to bring me the categories and say, okay, here's your categories. And also you're really good at, and Justin's been good at this in the past, is looking forward in the calendar and noting there's a specific holiday. Maybe you want to make it relevant to that topic because that holiday is coming up. So that was one thing. And the other thing that you mentioned I love is a time block piece, right? So I want to underscore this to everybody that I don't just write on a whim. I know I have to turn this around to her in order for it to get out and for it to look right and for her to get the graphics in. And so it creates accountability for me to time block. If you guys could see my calendar once a week, and I know Lisa can see, like I have my calendar blocked and she sends me my prompts and I use that hour and a half, 2 hours to literally write uninterrupted, door shut, notifications off, get my content to you. And then the last thing is what I love that you said is the ebb and flow of the seasonality of when we're busy and when we're not. Can you speak to maybe your reservoir of posts that you have? Because I think this is really good for people who are maybe overwhelmed with planning the content right now and knowing that you can actually draw on old posts or reservoir of posts that have worked in the past. Can you kind of speak to that? Because I know sometimes I get really busy in a launch and you guys are like, Melissa, like we need your content. We need your content. What do you do when you just don't get what you need from me?
I go for a little search. So what we do, I mean, because we're a bigger team, we've got a few folders. And because things do come up, there are some times in the month where there are posts that we don't use. So they actually get transported to a folder that says unused. And so in those moments, we can pull, or we go back and see what post had great traction. And so we can pull that forward and create even a little bit of a different copy for what the actual graphic or video says.
Yes, I love that. And I think another thing, a good nugget for everybody is if you've got content that worked really well, grab a new graphic so that it's visually looks different, but the content delivery is great and vice versa, right? So Lisa, I love that you guys do that. And I just think it gives our audience permission to go rinse and repeat, knowing that only 3 to 4% of your network even sees the post that you ever put out. So if one's got great views and great engagement, redo that baby, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that we can get caught in the trap of just continuing to write and write and write and write and never starting. But we start by starting. And so to have an encyclopedia of posts that are never on your feed doesn't really serve our purposes or our business as well.
Right. So good. And so true. Yeah. And the other thing you haven't really given yourself credit for, but the other thing that Lisa does really well is you guys know I go 90 miles an hour. I'm managing a lot of different things and I just jump ideas and thoughts. And Lisa is amazing at then grammatically fixing it, maybe fixing the words, right? Like making it look pretty.
Hey there, we're going to take a brief little interruption. I think you guys will love why I'm doing this little interruption. And that is because we hear from you all the time over in the Burnout to All Out community on our Facebook page. You've got questions, you want coaching. And so one of the things we are opening up to our Burnout to All Out community that are listening in right now to this podcast is a chance to get your questions answered in a live hot seat coaching session with me, yours truly, Melissa Hinault, in our Burnout to All Out community. And the audio will be recorded and you will be debuted in our podcast with your questions. So if that piques your curiosity and you're intrigued, here's the deal. All you have to do is text the word question. Again, text the word question to the number 1-833-310-7171. Again, text the word question to 1-833-310-7171. And when you do that, we will come back to you with another message asking you to submit your question. 2 to 3 lucky people will be selected every single week to be featured in my Facebook community and on my podcast. Looking forward to hearing from you guys.
actually did a talk last night. I was a guest speaker in another mastermind. They asked, what is your first hire as an online entrepreneur? When you're first getting started, where should you invest? Hands down, I think that creating content and getting it out is extremely time consuming and is something that you can initially, one of the first things you can delegate out to someone like Lisa that is so good in her zone of genius. And then it frees up your time to, in that time that you could be editing and you could be putting together graphics. Now you're doing what you need to be doing that requires your face on screen or on the phone or coaching. And now you have someone like Lisa, doing this, even just like 3 or maybe 2 hours a week. It's a game changer because you're so good at it. It probably takes you way less time than it would take me to actually get through the process, right?
When you have the bulk or the foundation of your post there and have trust in me to put it out to the audience, that gives me the authority to serve you well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So good. So good. Yes. Okay. So like I said in the beginning, so we hired Lisa in. Jessica, who's my brand manager, knew Lisa well and was like, I know someone who could do a really good job here and could potentially grow into something more than just managing social media. And by the way, my media is ridiculously complex. Like, can we just go there for a second? I have multiple pages because I'm in a network marketing company. I have very strict policy on what can be in certain feeds and what can't be in other feeds. And so it can get really complicated really fast. And I think that a lot of people in the social selling space get paralyzed by that. We're actually doing a workshop tonight in our academy about this because people are fearful to post anything because they're afraid they're going to do the wrong thing, right? And I totally disbelieve, if that's a word, that that's the right action. It's to just continue to learn and grow and come up with better systems and processes to make sure that we're on point with what we need to put out. But if you're not on media about your business, especially if you're in a social selling business and you feel like your hands are tied with content, you've got to get over that and you've got to learn to work around it. Right, Lisa?
100%. And I also think what you've done well is surround yourself with people. I've heard a leadership conversation about first who, then what. I mean, you're concentrating on what you need in your business, but if you surround yourself with the right people, you can grow into that. And you and I know each other that when I make a mistake or you make a mistake, we trust the intention of the other person is to serve each other well and to grow the business.
Yep, absolutely.
And so when we ebb and flow with the changes in what's happening in your business specifically, it could have paralyzed me.
Right. It would paralyze most. It's like she comes in and it's a free for all. And then I move network marketing companies and all of a sudden there's all these different policies of what she can and can't post and what we have to go back in history and delete. And it would paralyze a lot of people. Don't let it paralyze you. See it as an opportunity to learn. And this is what I told my team. I said, we have to figure this out because we coach clients. We have hundreds of clients who are in our shoes. And like, if we can't figure this out, we can't coach them on how to have the best brand on social media, regardless of policy with companies, right? We can figure this out.
Well, and I think it takes your business from being, NC, just standard vision, to HD, high definition. When you can focus in on this is where this content goes and this is more appropriate for over here.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we are a standing example that you can have multiple brands, multiple businesses, and navigate the social media world. Total transparency, right? And again, we're going to be talking policy tonight inside the academy, sharing best practices on this as we learn real world. Well, so I talked at the beginning about really hiring people in for their DNA and their potential. So it wasn't long that Lisa was with us that we were like, wow, you're doing such a good job managing my social media. We have so many clients inside of our mastermind who would really love some support in their social media because they're really wanting to raise the bar as a leader, as the CEO, and want to learn how to delegate. So we proposed to you, we're like, Lisa, what are your thoughts on taking what you're learning? And we open up a service to our mastermind clients for you to manage their social media. And so you want to speak a little bit to that because you're just like I'm putting her on the hot seat. She just started a week ago on this game, right?
We're just starting, but you know what? I love it. And the individuals who are in this pilot, they're learning new platforms, and so am I. So we're all learning together. But as I said to them on our onboarding call, when their business are doing well, we're doing well. And to be here to serve them and see them grow is fantastic. And so we're learning what is the easiest way for them to do, what you and I do, not necessarily in an email, but they've got a specific application where they drop in content and then I post it for them. And we also started connecting with other individuals on their platform. Sky's the limit.
Yes, absolutely. Right. So she's learning the method and she's learned really how to manage my social media, and people who really come to our company are attracted by who we are and what we stand for. And the reality is Lisa stands behind that. She's really the one cranking it all out. So if anyone really understands our branding, our messaging, how we're operating this, it's her. So what better resource for our clients who are in our higher end mastermind than to have them partner with her and really begin to manage that. Now, to really throw this out there, the exciting thing is we're actually looking at long term opening up an agency that Lisa would really train the VAs under her that do this. So it's like, right? Like the sky is the limit. And that's why I think it's so important to hire the right DNA for people who are open to evolving and change, right? Are you a social seller out there looking to beat the summer slump, looking for some accountability to grow your business and find the business builders of your dreams that want to run with you? Guys, if that's you, look no further than our 5-day inside scoop, where we are going to be taking you soup to nuts through growing your brand and creating attraction marketing on the LinkedIn platform. I'm going to teach you some of the critical tools I use to grow my social selling business and my coaching business. The coolest part about it, it's completely free. You just have to jump over to my Burnout to All Out Facebook community and get registered today. Or you can go to my website, www.livethefreelife.co. We'll put this in the show notes. But guys, take a listen to some of my former students and how they're doing and their experience inside the LinkedIn training. There's no question that this academy has changed everything about my business. And just a little fun fact is in the first 4 months of this business, we just ended April, and I paid more in the first 4 months than I did my entire year last year in my social selling business. And there's no question. The only thing I changed was the LinkedIn Academy.
Day 2, when I was in the academy, had really gotten my storefront to a place where I felt comfortable, had an audit. I felt like, okay. And I reached out to her through LinkedIn. I used a part of the scripts that you give us, tailored to my own. And she wrote back immediately. We had a discovery call the next day and she signed up that night. So
it is so much fun. And they always say, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And you've made this fun again, Melissa. I adore you.
Well, so that's not it, right? So we're like, this is great, Lisa, but about every 6 to 8 weeks, we launch, we do this thing. It's crazy for like 9 days straight. It's super hype. It's a lot of work. What are your thoughts on helping us launch our inside scoop and helping us as a social seller in the DMs, right? So we threw that ball to you. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I've been doing a little bit to help Jess in the background for the past 2 launches, but we'll be doing much more of that this coming one. And really, it's to invite people and say, you know what, this space is for you. If you want to learn and grow, this is where you need to be. This is where you want to be. And just really answering any questions to really be that invitational force behind the Inside Scoop and the Academy.
Yes. I love it. So what I want you guys to hear from all of this, some of you are maybe newer entrepreneurs, some of you are seasoned, but what I want you to hear is that I, Melissa Hinault, and I have said this from day one, am not doing it all. And even when I started my first social selling business, Lady Baldwin, I'm going to give you a huge shout out. From like day one, I'd hired her in to manage some of my social media, to manage even some things around my house, because I knew that there were things that only I could do in my business, but that if I was spending all this time on something someone else could do that I could delegate, then I was losing impact and opportunity in a space that required exclusively me, right? And so what I really want to underscore here is that bringing Lisa in, she started with managing posts, learning the content. But here's the thing. When you have someone doing that in your business, there is actually no better way for them to get to know you, get to know your business, and get to know your brand, right, Lisa?
We're best friends now.
You probably feel like if you saw my kids on the street, you'd feel like you'd seen them a million times, right? She's in my brain every day, and she's in my photos every single day. So bringing in someone to manage your social media is a really great entryway into your business, because they're immediately plugged in to learning the ins and outs. So such a good interview. Lisa, you bring so much value. We're so excited to have you on the team. Our academy is going to be hearing more from you. I know they don't really see your face, but they will. You're really behind the scenes. But we appreciate you so much and are so glad that you're here. And thank you for sharing your journey with us thus far today.
Well, I'm so honored to be a part of the team. And those of you that I already get to serve, I love it. Those of you I haven't yet met, can't wait.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. Such a great interview. And I'll see you on the back end in one of our team meetings soon. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. For free resources, materials, or information on my coaching services, go ahead over to livethefreelife.co. That's livethefreelife.co. Or check out our Facebook community at Burnout to All Out, and make sure you follow Burnout to All Out on Spotify and subscribe to iTunes. And it would truly mean the world to me if you paused for just a second, gave me that 5-star review of the show, and be sure to share this episode with any burnouts you think would be inspired to go all out after hearing this episode.